see if she's there. There we go. Should be there soon. There we go.
Hi, Dominique. Oh, it worked.
Yay, well done, it's worked.
I managed to get it to work.
Well done. Oh, professional cake baker, not so good on technology.
Not very good on technology at all, no.
Oh,
And
don't worry, that's like me. I'm still
how
learning.
I've got it resting on a book as well.
Oh, as long as it's a cake book, you're all right. How are you today in a way?
Yeah, no, I'm okay, thanks. Just been doing admin, so quite
Yeah.
interesting. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Have you been baking over the weekend, or since we last chatted last week? I know, but have you been baking at all, or is it just all paperwork at the moment?
No, I was baking, but probably more for me and family.
Okay.
So I did some scones, and then I did
nice.
like an orange and passion fruit cake for all the neighbours. So because I keep trying out new flavours, and then getting all the neighbours to try them. So they all love me at the moment.
That's a good idea. But is it nice to try to bake things that are not cakes, that stuff that you might not get a chance to bake, like you said, scones and stuff? Is it nice to do that?
It's brilliant because normally, as you know as well, we're always so busy, aren't we? And it's like week in, week out of like doing weddings. So this time is perfect for me to just have a play, like do all the things that are on my to-do list to
experiment.
Get them done. So experiment, so I'm like next week I want to start doing new sugar flowers, and like this week and the past few weeks I've just been trialing new cake flavors and having fun.
Saved up. Don't forget, you've got to keep some for me. I'm desperate. Dominique and I were chatting last week, and I was desperately saying to her, please keep some cake. And when the lockdown was lifted,
yeah. You know what? Well, I was actually thinking of how I can get a cake made for Tilly for a birthday.
She might be watching. Yeah, poor Tilly, my daughter. I was
just thinking how.
Yeah, her 18th birthday in lockdown. Yeah, so she is watching. I haven't seen if it's popped up in short. If it is watching, Tilly, if you are watching from work, then we have thought about it.
Yes, please. Yes, please. You've been on my mind, Tilly. I wanted to make you something still, so yeah.
Yeah, there you go. See, we hadn't forgotten, Tilly. So we're chatting away about cake and stuff. So obviously I sent you some questions to get us going and things. So for everyone watching, it'd probably be good to start with you telling us how you got into cake making for wedding and event industry, and how you got started and how long you've been going.
Okay, so I basically started about 7 years ago. So I used to work in the textile industry, and I was a textile designer, and I loved my job, and I used to travel around the world, and it was really good fun. And I designed bed linen, and then I had 2 children, and I couldn't keep doing the job I was doing with the traveling like to the Far East. It was a long way away, and they were sad. And they missed me. So I thought, right, well, what should I do? And I'd always loved baking. Yeah. So I thought, right, should I become a florist or shall I become a cake maker? And I thought, cake maker will be dead easy. I'll get to see my girls more, and I can work from home. And obviously it's not like that. It's a completely, I work 24/7, as you know, 365 days nearly a year. I started practicing and trialing cake making, like because it's different baking a home cake to making a wedding cake. It needs to obviously taste well, and it needs to cut well, and it needs to
very important,
keep fresh, because you can make them look beautiful but they need to taste beautiful as well. So I trained for about, I think it was about 1.5 years, just literally doing evening classes, and then
so you're practicing. Like self-taught then, really? It's just something you just
I did an evening. I think we were on holiday in Norfolk, and I just was, and I said to my husband, I think I'd seen some Peggy Portion kind of images, and I thought, oh my God, she's gorgeous, all her work. So I said, right, I'm going to enroll on a course, like an evening class when I get home, and I did. I went to college, and I just did a lot of like learning about raw icing and everything, and then trialing all the recipes, getting all the, because you need to obviously be able to bake different size tins, and the different,
it's a lot of skill.
A lot of skill. So it wasn't just a case case of like making a cake.
Yeah.
And then I had to practice all making all the sugar flowers, and
Yeah.
so it was a lot of training behind the scenes before I actually did my first cake for a customer. So
Oh my
it was
God.
probably about 1.5 to 2 years.
Yeah, it's amazing how you just decided that's it, right? I'm going to do that, and then, but it just shows, doesn't it? If you absolutely sure you want to do something, get your head down, do it, research, practice, go to all the classes. It's like my wedding planning. I didn't. A lot of people say, "Oh, have you got you know, a business degree or an event management degree?" I'm like, no, I've just started from work experience, learnt on the go, and build up my business for the last 17 years. That's all it is. I think it's one of those things, if you're so determined, you just go on and do it, don't you? But
yeah, well,
you go on.
Sorry, go on. No, I was just going to say, I'm a determined person. Like, when I do something,
Yeah.
I want to put 110% into it, and I want to do it well.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like half-hearted. It was like, I want to succeed. And I
Yeah,
have, like, considering how long I've been going, I'm very proud of what I've achieved. And
yeah, you should be.
And yeah, like, I've been in a book collaboration, and then like I've won like awards, and so it's really exciting. So
yeah, it's amazing. It's like you are, you know, such a sought after cake designer. For, you know, my brides, they're always like, oh, we want a Poppy Pickering cake, and in fact, that brings me on to the next question. I know the answer, but for everyone watching, what is the reason behind the name Poppy Pickering? Because obviously everyone thinks you're called Poppy, don't they?
I get called Poppy all the time, and I don't mind. It does make me laugh. So I'm called Dominique, obviously, and the name comes from my surname's Pickering, and we're not in Pickering, we're in Ilkley. And I wanted to call one of my daughters Poppy, but my husband wasn't as keen on the name as me, so this is my little baby called Poppy Pickering, and then my little girl's called Phoebe. So,
which is a gorgeous name too.
Yeah, well, they're both lovely names, aren't they? So I did get my Poppy in the end. So but we were lucky that we and I thought Poppy Pickering had a certain ring to it, and it's quite catchy, and it was quite nice with the logo having the P inside the kind of little poppy flower. So I thought it was quite pretty. So
it's lovely. And so within your shop as well, obviously I've been loads and stuff, but it's not so it's not just cakes you make as well, though, is it? I'm at the very fortunate end of tasting a lot of Dominique's goods that she makes, which is always a pleasure. Never a chore to eat all the goods, but you do the favors as well, don't you? So you kind of so people can come to you either just for favors, which a few of my clients have done, or they can have their cake and favors. So what else do you make?
So obviously we've got a little boutique shop in Ilkley, for the people that don't know that, and my father works downstairs, and he hand makes over 45 flavors of chocolate. So we do wedding chocolate favors, but he also does mail order postal boxes as well of these chocolates. And then obviously I predominantly do the cakes, and then we do like macarons, we do cookies, we do these little cake popsicles, which are quite cute.
They're popular, aren't they?
They're popular, like obviously I might be late to the party with those, but like everything obviously takes me a lot longer, because there's just me that's does all the wedding cakes and the wedding favors, so there's only so much I can physically do time wise. And then
how to do it, haven't you?
Because you have, like anything, like I have to practice before I launch anything. And like the macarons, again, it was a year of me trialing all the different flavors and like the technique, because again I want to get them perfect. There's no point in doing anything half-hearted, and I wanted to get a nice menu put together of different flavors. So I
remember when you started doing those and you said, I'm thinking about doing it, and they're not quite ready, and and I remember thinking, gosh,
and like now I mean I baked hundreds of them, because obviously they're lovely little things to like look at, but they're sometimes very naughty to actually create and bake.
I bet.
So you're always looking to see if the like feet are coming in the oven, but so I do macarons, the biscuits, the cake pops, we do the wedding chocolate favors, and I might practice more new things now I've got the time, but predominantly I think my strength is wedding cakes. So obviously the favors are like an add-on.
Yeah, definitely. And so I know as well that there's loads of different cake designs and things. And so if a bride comes to you, how do you kind of interpret their kind of vision, or do you think they come to you with a certain vision, or does it not matter if someone comes to you and says, right, I want that, or they come to you and say, I don't know, but I know I want something different? Do you work, how's that process when they come to you?
Some brides come to me, and so basically they all brides who are getting a cake for themselves are invited for a wedding cake consultation where they can come to the shop.
Yeah.
We do them once a month, and they're generally on like a Sunday, and you have an hour's appointment, and that's where you get to try 5 different cake flavors and some macarons and chocolates, and that's the experience that most brides love the most, and grooms as well, the partners or any, you know, partners or anyone. And it is fun, and they can look in the shop at all the different wedding cakes on display, and some brides will come and they'll have a set design in mind or a colour scheme in mind, and they'll use like the wedding flowers as like the starting point or the stationery, while other brides might see one of my designs and say, I want this cake but in this colour scheme. So everyone's different, and that's the beauty of it, because some like want to be guided by me, and then it does depend as well on the venue and the setting, because some venues are very grand and might need a taller cake, not necessarily all being cake.
Okay, the dummy tiers and stuff.
You can combine dummy tiers with real cake tiers, and that's where the way you can have a really impressive cake but not have it all being cake and paying for it all to be cake. So like a lot of my brides that were this year were having 5 or 6 tiers, and they were having the clear separator tiers that are like very in for the moment.
That's nice.
But it wasn't all being cake, and they were very, so I am known for like very tall cakes, if that makes sense. So yeah, every bride's different.
They can have whatever they like. And so with those dummy tiers then, can they keep anything from, because that's, so at the end of the night when I'm there at the wedding, I'm always so careful to take off all the flowers, the beautifully made flowers, and the petals, the leaves and everything, put them into the box for them to keep. So how long can those things, you know, I would never...
I mean, the sugar flowers can last forever.
Okay.
So
what do you suggest they do with those then?
I often suggest that, for example, if like top 2 tiers of a cake were fake and the sugar flowers were on there, I'd just say just make sure that the venue or the wedding planner keeps those top 2 tiers intact. And then you can just keep them in a nice box, and then maybe for an anniversary you can get them out, and then you can just get like a bottom tier made, and then you've got like a little mini wedding cake again, or christening, or even for a birthday. They could use it for anybody, couldn't they? There was one design where, you know, like the hoop designs are very popular, where you have like a sugar wreath hoop. So you could have like a boxed frame, and you could put the hoop inside the frame and then have it on the wall. That was what one couple did. Otherwise, you can just keep all the sugar flowers, carefully put them in like a nice presentation box with just some polystyrene pellets, and they'll keep forever. Don't put them in a plastic box.
That's nice to have. Oh, you're frozen. There you go. You froze then.
Right, wait a minute. I've just... So go on. My battery's dying, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, the beauty of being live, isn't it? Yes, that's good, because I've always wondered that, you see, when what happens with them, because I just box them up and then pass them over to the couple to do what they want. So that's great to know that they can keep them. So then, talking about the wedding flavors and things, then how do you kind of go with that? With obviously they come to you, and do they choose 5 to kind of try when they're with you, or how do they narrow it down and do you suggest different ones for different times of the year, or what happens there?
So with them, that's the thing. I do I think I've got 12 flavors at the moment of cake. So it is hard narrowing it down if they've only maybe got 2 or 3 tiers that are actual cake. But what I sometimes say is have the light summery sponges for the summer months. For example, like this new orange and passion fruit one I've created. That's a lovely one. Nice. Or the white chocolate and raspberry. That's a really popular one for the summer.
That's my favourite.
And I also do an orange satsuma and gin. So some people like having that hint of the gin because it's very in at the moment, isn't it? Or when for the autumn, then they might have like the salted caramel or a rich chocolate cake. So it does depend on the time of the year which cake flavors I go for. I do a lovely rhubarb and ginger, and again that's seasonal, but it's a really popular one, that one is. So, but They get to try
choose.
5, and then I also do these beautiful cake sample boxes that I post out. And again, they could always pick and order one of those, and then have more cake samples sent to their home if they wanted to. So then at least then they can try more of the flavours.
Yeah, that's good to have, because I mean, it'd be really so difficult for me, because when you get, I know on your website, looking through it, it said all the flavours and everything, and it's so hard to choose. And you think, well, you know, the kind of the gin one, you might think, well, that might taste really odd, but it sounds intriguing, doesn't it? So you'd want to try it. And so how do you come up with those flavours? Do you just suddenly go, right, I'm just going to try that, and keep baking until you've got it right, got the kind of proportions and stuff right? Or how does it work?
Well, it varies, because like, you know, that this orange and passion fruit, I wanted to do a new one that was quite fruity, and I try and sometimes link them to like my dad's chocolate flavors. So he's just introduced a new passion fruit chocolate, and it was really popular, so I thought, well, I might as well try and use the same kind of ingredients and flavorings. And then like the rhubarb and ginger, for example, that's a really beautiful preserve that we get from Massam. So again, we were just trying to use our local supplier that makes the preserves for me. We're trying to combine with her flavours as well of preserves. So, but yeah, sometimes I just look online and I think, well, what do I try, like, fancy? So and then you just want to just refresh them. For example, like a Victoria sponge everybody normally likes, so the white chocolate and raspberry is just a little bit of a move on and a bit of a twist to it, so
just a bit different. So have any couples ever come to you and said, all right, I want this flavour, can you try it? And you've gone, oh, I don't know. Or
so the only one I don't really do is well, I prefer ones where I make my own flavours, because obviously I've trialled them and I know that they're going to cook well and they're going to taste nice. So one of them that I don't really do is red velvet, because it's got a lot of like red dye in it, and I just think it just looks quite synthetic, and I don't like the fact that you've got to put like the vinegar in. So so I don't tend to do that one, but I did do a bride. She was from America, and she wanted a confetti style cake, so I did look one for her where I put all the sprinkles in, so when you cut into it, it was all like multicolored. So I did like tweak that one for her, and then I do tend to stick mainly to my cake flavors, because I know that they work.
Exactly. And so so going along with the different cake flavors and themes and things, so, and where you get your ideas from, who's inspired you along the way to kind of, who do you look to still now?
So I tend to probably look at a lot of Australian designers, because they're like my...
Are they ahead of us, kind of in the...
I always think that sometimes they are a little bit ahead of us, and they're just so creative, and maybe some of the I mean, there's obviously so many amazing wedding cake designers around the world, but yeah, they're the main. I think their weddings, I just love the backdrops and the way that they display the cakes. So that's where I get inspiration from, and then probably get inspired by more fashion and textiles, and that's where I take inspiration from, like what colour trends are going into like the fashion industry and things like that. Really,
like the wedding world, isn't it? It usually comes from interiors, doesn't it? From kind of like Julia Brain and I were discussing the other week, that it's not, we don't really between us read many wedding magazines. It's more the interiors, because that will then filter through down into the wedding world with the designs behind everything. So so then it must be
like when I was in my old job or career, I used to like go looking around the shops, like the homeware shops and all the fashion shops, looking at what prints are out there, and maybe like even just flowers, like going to like Chelsea Flower Show and things like that, or Harlow Car, all the gardens, and just getting inspiration from those flowers, and then taking colours from the fashion industry and linking them together for the wedding cakes. That's what inspires me. So
fab.
And even just sometimes like a plate, or I think I once was at an airport and I saw a handbag and I just loved the print on it and the colours of the print. And that's what inspired me for one of my cake designs. And there was one I think it was a few years ago now. It was a table setting on Pinterest I found, and it was all in like mauves with a hint of rose gold and then greys.
Nice.
And that's what inspired me to create a marble kind of looking rose gold cake, which was one of my most popular designs for several years.
Wow.
And that just came from a table setting.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Amazing.
I get inspired by lots of things, not just other cake designers. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. It keeps it kind of moving and fresh and interesting then, doesn't it? A lot when you're planning all your cake designs. And obviously you don't just do round cakes as well, because I think that's what most of my couples instantly think, okay, like a 3-tiered round cake or something, but I've seen you've done different shapes as well. And is that harder to do? I'd imagine that's harder to ice, is it?
Square cakes I find are harder. They do take longer to do, because you've obviously got, that I do really lovely sharp edges.
Yeah.
So obviously to get a sharp edge on a round cake is a lot easier than getting it on a square cake. It takes a lot more time. But this season I have done a few more square cakes because they're a bit different, and especially with the square clear cubes that I've been putting between the tiers as well. They're just a bit of a move on. Not everybody will go for them. A lot of people like the round cakes. Then there's obviously the hexagon shapes. And,
are they hard to do, to ice?
No, I find those easier than the square ones. But
really,
but I mean, obviously the round are the most popular, because you can obviously the flow of the fresh flowers or the sugar flowers on a round cake is better, I feel, than on a square cake. It looks a bit more angular and structured. But I combine square and round sometimes, and they look really nice as well.
Yeah, I like that, square and round, having like maybe a square base and then rounds on top. Just it's an added bit of interest, isn't it? But I know you and I have discussed, and this is something really important to maybe any brides watching now, is to really think about the setup of your cake, because you can get an amazing cake from you and it looks beautiful, and then you deliver it to the venue, and we've had massive discussions about this, and they've either just stuffed the kind of cake table in the corner of the room with a cloth that doesn't even fit the table,
or it's creased,
they haven't ironed it, or it's got a mark on it, or just something you think, oh my god, and you're going to put this incredible cake on there. And at my weddings it's all about the cake is on show, so I always suggest when the couple either have it near the top table throughout the wedding meal, and then we move it. I don't always tell you this, but we do.
You're probably give me a heart attack if you tell me.
Well, we move it, especially at Rockcliffe Hall, and I've got Matt helping, we're fine, but we move it to the dance floor, and so that it is centre stage,
focal point,
the focal point when the couple are cutting it, and then everybody's around already taking the photos. Then we move the cake away to get cut up, and they're ready in position for their first dance. But it's so important to have that table either to look amazing. I mean, I'm in the process of trying to create new tables, and I know Sarah at Leafy Couture florist, she's done the most incredible beautiful hoops, hasn't she?
She's like, that's lovely when people really think about how the cake to be displayed, because it is really disheartening for me as well, or any cake designer, when you've made a beautiful tall wedding cake or any size wedding cake, and you take it to the wedding venue and it's just having to be displayed in the corner of the room, and it's like it's forgotten about. So I mean, obviously I try and advise brides and send them pictures on how they could set the cakes up, and at the moment there are all these interesting prop stands and displays with the hoops and everything, with fresh flowers on, which look gorgeous. Or you could have a floral wall backdrop. But it's the tables sometimes, as you say, you've got to have, like, rather than just having a table, it might be like a clear plinth where it looks like the cake's floating, or this is why Australia, I think, sometimes have the beautiful setups, because they've got all these coloured plinths, or gold ones or silver ones, and they're really amazing, and then they've got all the candles and the flowers around. And it doesn't have to be something expensive or complicated. It could literally just be a case of having loads of candles with and
just to really finish it.
Just a finished look, so it looks impressive. Or a coloured cloth even. I think we did a wedding once where it was with a navy cloth, and it just really set the cake off.
We did that at Tithe Barn, didn't we, for Rich and Steph? We did a couple of years ago, and we had a navy cloth, because all the other dining cloths were navy as well, and it just really set the cake off and made it really stand out. It looked amazing. The cake looked amazing on its own, but yeah. And then I remember us discussing, right, well, we'll put it up here against the brickwork, and we had a little light shining down on it to kind of enhance it too, because it's quite dark in the barn. But yeah, it's so important to think about that. It's something I'm definitely working on, because as a planner, I know we've discussed it. You know, you deliver the cake, and quite often the cake stand, and then usually if I'm the planner there, I return the cake stand to you, because that works quite well.
Yeah, because the cake stand is another thing, because like a lot of the venues have really old-fashioned like silver plinths or cake stands, and they're just nothing, and they're all damaged or tarnished, and having a white cake stand or a clear cake, anything like a beautiful stand sets the cake off straight away, and adds a bit more height as well. So
completely. And a good cake knife. As a planner, I have 2 cake knives that live in my car, because it is one of those things that it's on my checklist. You know, that like a few weeks before the wedding, I'll say, right, who's providing the cake knife? It's quite often caterers will, but usually I always say, well, have you asked to see it? Because quite often it's just a knife, literally a knife in the kitchen.
Just a
it might be
knife,
a big knife. It might have a wooden handle, and I just think mine is clear. I mean, it's not expensive, and you can buy them on Amazon, but quite often some people get them as a gift as well, and it's engraved, which is lovely. So I always check, it's one of my checklist questions. But if not, I've got 2, because inevitably I'll forget one, or one will get lost somewhere or pinched. So having a nice cake knife as well, because that's what's in your photographs.
Yeah, no, it's all like setting the scene, isn't it? And it is important, because that will be in your photographs as well, won't it?
Yeah, so have a nice
having that attention to detail.
Yeah, exactly. So so tell me about a typical kind of day in the life of a well, maybe it's not really a day for you, is it? Like the week of a wedding.
It's a week. So so making a wedding cake isn't just a case of like baking a cake and then icing and decorating it. It is like a process. So to actually do the cake, it takes me about 4 days. So one day I'll bake, the next day I will layer and ganache it and put the filling in. Then the day after then I would ice it, and then the day after then I'd decorate it, so ready then for the Saturday or whatever day then to deliver. So I'm only really allowing myself 1 day a week to make flowers. Which again, it doesn't work like that. It will take me longer than 1 day to make sugar flowers, especially if it was like a cascade going down a cake. That can sometimes take me 1 to 2 weeks, depending on how many flowers I need and how the complexity of them. And like the reason why I'm having to do things on set days as well is because obviously everything needs to have like a bit of setting time and resting time, because if you try to like bake, ganache, ice in 1 day, you just get a big splodge of a mess. So,
it won't work.
To get these lovely sharp edges and the lovely finish that I get, you have to let everything rest within the day of, you know, with each other. So yeah, like my week, normally Monday is like my prep day, Tuesday's my baking day, Wednesday's my ganaching, Thursday's my icing, Friday's decorating. So Friday's always a lovely fun day, I call it. And then Saturday then delivery, but obviously that changes per week depending on what day the deliveries are. So some days I could be baking and ganaching, you know.
Especially if we've got a Friday wedding and a Saturday wedding.
I won't do them all on the, you know, I'd obviously cater it to what day the wedding is. So yeah, that's why I only limit myself to a certain amount of cakes per week, because there's only so much I can physically do. And then I do now set myself prep weeks. So occasionally I'll have a whole prep week, and that's where I'll literally make loads of sugar flowers for all the wedding cakes of that month maybe, or for the next few weeks ahead. Also icing boards, that takes a long time, icing all the boards, the cake boards, because you have to make sure they're iced a few weeks in advance, so that when you're then lifting the cake, you're not having a thumb impression onto the cake board.
So
things
all
like
these
that.
little details.
It's just those little details. And yes, and as I say, sugar flowers is the thing that takes the most time, because I can make them in advance. They'll be fine, because I store them all in lovely
Is it better to make them in advance then, or does it not matter?
I can't make them too far in advance, because they then become very fragile. So what I normally do is have a mix of made in advance ones and then like fresh ones, newer ones. I can combine them together on the cake. So So gosh,
so it's a whole week then, and then you're delivering it. I know when you're delivering it, you check everything as you come in, check where it's going,
and make spare flowers as well for when I deliver it, so that if anything happens, I've got spares there. I've got like a little repair kit with me just in case. And then sometimes then I have to get back and then start immediately on the next cake for the next day, or decorating, for example, or prepping for the next cake the week after. And then you've got all your social media as well, and then you've got all ingredients ordering, all your admin. So it's just non-stop.
It's mad. I know. This is why Dominique takes 2 weeks off in the summer, which annoys me because it's always when I need her. But she has to do it because you have to have a break, don't you?
You do have to have a break.
With Andy Murphy, the DJ, saying we in this wedding industry have to take a break and have to book in holidays because it is relentless. You're just constantly, like you're just saying, that once you've completed one task, you kind of got to carry on with the next one for the next couple, or like you said, it's all the business side of it. And
you've got to have I mean, I do have a passion for it, and I do love it because it is I mean, this isn't just in the cake industry, it's all, I think, every industry part of the wedding. We all work so hard, and it is like we put 110% or give 110% to every bride, and like for me it's their special day, so I want to make the cake like, you know what I'm like, I'll even increase the size of the cake, won't I, sometimes, because I want to make it even more special, and I'm always adding more flowers on than what we probably had on the quote, because I'm a perfectionist and I want it to be as special as it can be, and it's putting my name to it as well, isn't it? So
definitely, exactly. It's got to be perfect. Well, I know it is, because I know you're a perfectionist when you're tweaking everything on the day, but that's what my couples expect everybody to be like. So you've got to be, really. So how's this year and next year looking for you then? I know you've booked your kind of holiday dates, but how are you coping with all of this situation?
Obviously I'm taking a day at a time. I've had a lot of brides postpone to next year, so obviously next year is looking pretty full. May is madness, next May, but I've still got a few slots in June, July, and then the end of August. Can
still get in touch with you?
They can still get in touch with me. I've had a lot of 2021 brides, new brides, book me because they know the dates are going.
Fast.
They're going fast. But I have then got quite a few brides still in 2020 that are pushing theirs back to later this year.
Right.
Or they're just waiting to see still, which is understandable. But obviously then if they wait too long, they might miss out on dates next year. So
that's what I'm just experiencing, is just going through August weddings now. I think we're kind of almost done up until August with moving dates and stuff, but even then we're kind of, it's really difficult to then get all of those suppliers who were booked for the original date transferred across, because everyone's in demand. So it's really key to get moving, isn't it, and get your
definitely, because I've had a lot of even this morning I've had a few inquiries from new brides, and they can't get me now for their dates next year because I'm already full, which is a shame. So
so if you can't do their cake, for example, I know we've had this situation, but maybe it was different with what else you had on that week, but like Daniela and Ben's wedding, you couldn't do their cake quite a few years ago, but you did do their wedding favours, and then you went on to do their christening cake, which is amazing. But can you do that kind of thing? If they can't get you for the cake, they could maybe do favours?
They could come to me just for favours, because I can sometimes slot those in. It's sometimes, as I said, it's not the actual cake, it's the actual creating all the sugar flowers. I physically can't allocate any more time, so that's, or the deliveries don't allow for me to have another wedding, if that makes sense. I can't. But people could come for favours.
That's good. That's really good for them to know, so they might not lose out on you completely. Something.
But then some brides, they've actually moved their wedding to 2022 because they wanted to get the same suppliers, so they've had to push it back even longer, and then they know they've got everybody that they wanted for the date.
Well, I suppose, if you've carefully chosen all your suppliers, then if that's what you need to do, then you've got to weigh up what's most important, I suppose, in this kind of situation. So fab. Well, I've got through all my questions, I think. So is there anything else you want to say to anyone watching, any brides or
I don't
I don't know if there's any questions, actually. I'll just see if there's any questions. I know Stuart Wood's a lovely, lovely guy, photographer.
Oh, no, I know Stuart.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
said, yeah, coincidence, some of the best wedding photographers are in Australia too. Yeah, quite possibly. Making you Magic Man London is making me hungry. I know I was so hungry to start with before this. Oh, I have to send you all the comments if you can't see them. No other questions, I don't think. No. Not that I can see.
Okay.
No.
I'm probably just having a mental block because I've just like been trying to do my admin and everything. But yeah, no, I just say to people like, I do sample boxes now, not just for brides, but anybody can order them. So that's what
so if someone wants, say for example, like I've been doing for a lot of my brides who've missed out on the wedding dates, I've been sending them a little gift in the post and just say, oh, sorry, it's not now, but you know, it'll be next year. And so if someone wanted to order, say, a box of sample cakes from you to send to someone else, is that something they can do at the moment?
Yeah, I can do that at the moment. I mean, May's fully booked, but I am looking to do them like June, July.
Okay, so they can get in touch now.
You can just get in touch, and then and I've had like lots of past brides and then future brides, and even just people that want to try a cake or have a treat sent to them in the post. So it's quite nice.
That's good.
Somebody's put a question: how many hours is the average cake? I mean, I work 9 till 5 most, you know, in the shop creating the cakes. Obviously then sometimes I have to go back in the evening because I have got 2 young children, so I have to like fit around them as well. So when I go back in the evening, so it's a long time. Even though I might not be just working on one cake, you've got to think that I'm working a full-time hour, you know, job work, daily week, sorry, and then so yeah, they can take a while to do. A long while to do.
Depends on the size.
Depends on the size. I mean, sometimes one tier can take, you know, when I do ruffles, there's a cake, you know, with all ruffles on. They can take me like 5-6 hours just doing the ruffles on one tier, and then I've still got to decorate it and add all the sugar flowers. So it's, you know, it can be sometimes 10 hours just decorating a cake. So
I know when I came to you on the cake, and you also do not just making, you do courses, don't you? So anyone wanting to, I went on one of Dominique's courses, the little mini cakes with I took my mum, and it was amazing. And I was exhausted after a few hours, and thinking how difficult. I know you're so used to it and you can do it really quickly and everything, but just getting the colours right, and then you know, the shape of the petals. I think we were doing roses, and then oh my god, it's the most amazing course to go on. It was brilliant. I learned so much.
Thank you.
I loved it. Well, you know, equally I was with my mum having a lovely mum-daughter day, but it was really fab and fascinating. Gosh, well, it took me that long. It's I can imagine when you've got a wedding cake and it's got to be perfect, how long it would take to just do one.
Because like I'll show you like this flower. Oh, I've just broken it. So like this flower here, so like these flowers, these are like what I call David Austin's. They have like, so you put all these inside petals and then you've got the outside petals as well. So like even just doing a rose like this, it takes so much time, and like that's what people don't appreciate, like dahlias and camellias and ranunculuses, they take a lot of time to create because they've got like maybe 50-60 petals, and you have to keep layering them up, and you can't put too many petals on at once because then it will all just flop. So you have to let them have drying time between. So people sometimes ask me, how long does it take for you to do a rose? And I'm like, well, you do one rose at a time. I might do like 30 roses. So like if I can get, that's like a simple rose, sorry. So if I can do like 20 to 30 simple, what I call simple roses in a day, that's a good day. I might only get like 5 of those done possibly in a day, maybe a few more, you know, these ones, because they take so long. So
God. And are there any flowers you can't do, or you've said no way, I'm not doing that, it's too complicated? Or do you just give anything a go? Has anyone thrown anything at you that you've kind of gone, the
only ones I don't do is, you know, like gypsophilia,
baby's breath,
like, because that's just like,
I know
you can do it, some people do it, but can you imagine how long it would take to do all of that? So some things I don't do, and I just say it's not cost effective for me to do that for you on your cake. So generally when people have got like the flowers, the having in the bouquets, I'll use that as a guide, and I'll say, well, I might not do all those flowers, but as long as it's got that essence of that feel, and the colour as well. So I work well with like lots of florists, and I get like the list of what they're doing, so I can kind of match it as much as possible, but not have every single one there.
Yeah, and just kind of work out the colours and make sure it all ties in, because that's really hard, isn't it? And that's one of my jobs as a planner, is to make sure that there is that thread of that theme and that cohesive kind of, between like the linen and the glassware and the cake, the flowers on there with the florist and everything, that it all comes together and isn't a mishmash. And that's one thing I'm very good at, making sure that they all kind of tie in. But but you would contact, I know you do, speak to the florist and just make sure, and if they can do a picture of something what you're looking for,
because I can match to a picture. It's really but I mean, there's certain florists I work really well with, and it's fantastic when you then turn up to the venue on the day and your colours are spot on and it looks beautiful, and the guests then don't know whether the sugar or real flowers on the cake. And
I love it when they say that. They're like, oh, is it real? And you think, oh, no, it's not.
Well, that's what makes it worthwhile. To me, that's what makes it worthwhile then. It's like, well, I've done a good job then. Because they can't make, they can't tell the difference. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. What's the question? Do you have a green thumb, and do you keep a garden? Oh, to look at all the flowers, maybe. Oh, she doesn't have time.
I haven't got time yet. My garden's just like a lawn and lots of bushes, because I have a thing about, anyone that knows me knows I have a thing about white. I love white. So I'm hoping in this time that we've got to just get some new like kind of containers that I can then put loads of white flowers in. I haven't got any flowers at the moment because I just haven't got time, but maybe in the future. And I want a white blossom tree.
Oh, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah, you have to just go off to Harlow Car for your inspiration.
No, I do get, and then a lot of fresh flowers. Sometimes I buy like a bouquet of fresh flowers, and then I'll have them in front of me when I'm making the sugar flowers, so that's like inspiration.
Oh, very good.
Well,
I think that's all the questions on there, so thank you very much for
thank you
about cake. That was interesting, and also I know a lot of the answers because we chat all the time, but hopefully that was helpful to some of the people watching as well. So fab, thank you. And I shall speak to you very soon.
I will do. Bye.
Take care. Bye.